Welcome back. You're watching The Agenda. So next week, the Number 43 Foundation will hold its annual legacy event at the Ibubesi Conference Center in Parys, and part of the conversations include preparing youth beyond the place of work in South Africa to a global world and what constraints South Africa poses for these dreams. Now, the event boasts multiple activities, including a walk, a golf session, and talks, as well as to activate change. The annual event, themed Community and Family, is meant to agitate for conversation and uphold the legacy of the late Magogo, a lady who protected comrades in transit in Eswatini during the apartheid struggle. Now, speakers will include Simon Denny, who is the Chief Executive Officer at Goldman Sachs International Bank, and Tony Ehrenreich, who is the Cosatu leader in the Western Cape, who will give the annual legacy lecture. And Tony joins us now. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Ehrenreich. So we are taking advantage of the timing of, with Parliament being in a process to bring in new officials leading up. And of course, leading up to the elections, there were also reports that you wanted to start a new party to prop up the ANC in the Western Cape. And of course, Cosatu came on the other side and denied all of these allegations. So what was the source of these news? Where did they come from?
Well, I think in matters related to the elections, good morning, there are many and varied explanations. We have not, as Cosatu, taken any decisions to separate from the ANC. There are formal positions on that. We are watching with great interest the unfolding government of national unity. We're glad that we've been able to surpass the elections, that we're cooperating amongst the parties. We hope that all can come on board and that we can now get down to the urgent business of rebuilding our country and addressing the horrible legacy of apartheid. But on to Trelawney 43, I think the culture and the practices of that family and community and the way that they served our people in making sure that we could all exercise our agency in bringing about both an end to apartheid, but supporting those amongst us who played a crucial role in liberating our country. So an incredible story of the Magogo's actions, and something that certainly we think should be emulated by many families and many communities.
And you just touched on something that is currently happening now. Many have also described it as democracy unfolding as it is, the government of national unity. What are your thoughts on the outcome and the motions going on as parties scramble to find a place in this government of national unity?
Well, I think we're just encouraged by the fact that they've been able to find a partnership, that they've been able to find the basis of the solutions. Of course, what we're encouraged about is that the DA has backtracked from their attempts to undermine the minimum wage and those matters that are important to workers. What we must do is build a society that takes care of those who we've neglected under apartheid and have not served sufficiently in the democracy. So this is a great step forward. There are some concerns without doubt, but we must continue to work together to build this country, deal with those corruption amongst us, both in the public sector and in the private sector, because remember, hundreds of billions of rands stole by Marcus Jooste and his cronies, and then the collusion in all areas of the private sector. So we want to address those and get back to building our country in the way that Gogo did in Trelawney 43, in supporting the liberation of our country, in contributing practically to the steps that needs to be taken to both free our society, but also ensure that we realize the promise of liberation that was captured in the Freedom Charter.
So next week you will be talking about the role of organized labor in liberating communities. Just tell us about the Number 43 Legacy Foundation and the significance of young people and understanding legacy stories. Because here's one thing, we usually have these conversations about the youth and empowering the youth around a youth month, and then we park them for the next year. So just give us a bit of context on what you'll be talking about.
Absolutely, and I think the context is the deep levels of unemployment that we have in our country, and the fact that youth especially is above 60% unemployment. So we've got to respond to those sectors of our society as a matter of urgency. This project, Trelawney 43, is an incredible and lasting legacy of the Masalela family.
All right.
And how they've contributed to
Okay, so Tony Ehrenreich joining us there. Thank you so very much for your time.